meeting is qualified to consider the agenda items. Board Member Wester, please let the audience know of our interpretation services.
Buenas noches. Si necesitan los dispositivos para poder escuchar el mensaje de esta noche en español, por favor, tenemos la intérprete a este lado de nuestro lugar. Gracias.
The Central High School JROTC, under the direction of Commander Larry Benzel, will lead tonight's flag salute. Please stand as we prepare for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the posting of the colors.
Color guard post. Would you please join in a pledge? Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated.
Ms. Marshall, would you please introduce the JROTC from Central this evening?
Thank you, Madam President. With us tonight, as stated, we have, under the direction of Commander Larry Benzel, we have Dadrian Mullins, Pledge Leader, Color Guard Keyshawn West, Toby Hill, Carlos Marshall, James Birmingham, and our greeters, David Marshall. Thank you.
Thank you all so much for being here. It's wonderful to see everyone in this exciting, vibrant room, everyone participating in democracy. We love that. If there's any seats next to you, would you mind to raise your hand just so we can make sure everybody can get in this room if you want, they want to? Okay, so it's completely full, but we do have 2 overflow rooms, and there's folks directing people to those rooms. I want to remind everyone that if you want to address the board this evening, you will need to sign up with Ms. Cindy Hutchings. She's right here on my right. Once we approve the consent agenda, we will not accept any more speaker requests for the evening, so be sure and get that request in now. You'll have probably about 10 more minutes to do that. Before I consider a motion to adopt the agenda, I want to announce that the presentation of our staff report will be made. I don't know if we have a staff report, do we? Yes. Okay, we still do have it. Okay, great. That's going to be right after we do our consent agenda. So, Dr. Gist, are there any other changes or modifications to the agenda?
We do have some changes, Madam President. If the board and others could please consider the withdrawal of consent items E13 and E19. These will come before the board at a future agenda.
Thank you, Dr. Gist. With that, I will entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
I'll call for the vote. Ms. Wester?
Aye.
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 Aye. Dr. Gist, think it looks like we definitely have a special presentation this evening, so we're ready for that if you are.
We do. We are so excited about this special presentation. We are joined tonight by the incredible students from Dolores Huerta Elementary School under the leadership of their principal, Ms. Janice Thomeyer, and a group of students are here to perform the brand new official song, which was written and composed by their music teacher, Kurt Hall. That's amazing. And they have worked very hard over the last few months learning this song, perfecting it, and getting it ready to share with us tonight. We are so glad you all are here. Why don't we all join together to give them a warm welcome and encourage them now.
First 3 minutes. 1, 2, 3, 4.
This is our school, our dear green and blue. Here we all are, bold and true. We'll strive every day, because honest effort will lead to personal success. Oh, we are the Huerta heroes. We'll do our best every day. Si se puede.
Thank you so much for coming out tonight. I know it's a cold, cold night, actually, for everyone to be out and to come together. We are so grateful that you all came to share your song with us. That was awesome. And you know, boys and girls, I still remember the songs from my elementary school, so you'll probably remember that forever and ever. And thank you for sharing it with us tonight. Thanks to all of you. And Mr. Hill, thank you. Very impressive. Awesome work.
Dr. Gist, will you sing part of it? I know you can.
Are you serious?
Totally. She can sing.
Well, the Carnegie, I will not, I will sing you one line, but the Carnegie songs, they actually changed the song, so this is like the throwback song. It's, hey, look us over, Carnegie's here, we'll be the best now, just you never fear. I'll stop there.
Dr. Gist. I was a Disney Ranger riding the learning trail. Still to this day, I remember that one.
Well, I could do Nimitz in Memorial as well, but I'll spare you.
Kids, thank you. You will probably never know how much that means to us after everything we went through. We appreciate it. Proud of you guys. We need to approve the minutes from the November 19, 2018 regular meeting of the board, and I'll entertain a motion for that now.
Move approval.
Second.
Any questions or comments on the minutes from the November 19th meeting? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Ms. Fate?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Aye. That brings us to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
And I'll just remind everyone that the consent agenda is items that we reviewed at the last meeting on information. We discussed them, asked questions. We've had 2 weeks to look at them some more, and now, as a large omnibus agenda, we are passing that. I'm assuming we're going to pass it. Are there any questions regarding the consent agenda? Dr. Decker?
Yes, I just wanted to say that I'll be abstaining from E15, E16, and E17 as they pertain to Educare, which will soon be my employer.
Thank you, Dr. Decker. Any other questions? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Ms. Wester?
Aye.
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 Aye. Now, we are going to have the staff report, And I'll turn that portion over to Dr. Gist.
Thank you, Madam President. We are so enthusiastic about tonight's staff report, and we have our Design and Innovations Officer, Andrea Castaneda, here, along with members of her team and also members of each of the school teams who are participating in our high school redesign project called Tulsa Beyond. And you see here that we're going to get started actually with some of our students who are members of the design teams. And this is why we wanted to move this staff report up, because we want to try and get as many students as we can home and ready for tomorrow's school day as possible. So I will turn it over to Andrea Castaneda.
I am super excited. I am so pleased to be with you guys today. I am going to go quickly because obviously that which I have to say is only nominally important compared to the teams who are here to talk to you. We haven't been before you since August to give you an update on Tulsa Beyond, and a lot has happened since then. So we're going to fly through a few key details, and then we're going to kick it over to our design teams. Quickly by the numbers, we kicked this thing off with a museum party. It was fabulous. We have almost 50 design team members that reflect students and parents and community members from 4 high schools. We have Webster High School. We have McLean High School. Tulsa Learning Academy. And Hale High School in absentia. Hale is actually on a site visit right now, so you'll hear from them by video in a second. They have been working really hard. This is about 4 or 5 hours of work per week for everyone you see here, plus all the people you don't see here. That is like over 3,000 hours of work so far. And they're going to tell you about some of the things they've learned. We also, though, want to make sure you hear from the design team members themselves. So we actually have this in 4 chunks. First, you're going to hear from students, and then you're going to hear from each of the design teams. All right? I'm going to turn it over to students.
Dear community members, the public, educators, everyone, hi.
I am the unidentifiable human being.
I am the kid in the back of the room.
I am the band geek.
I am part of the LGBTQ+ community.
I am a student of many races.
I am a man of facts.
I am a survivor.
I am the other box when it comes to race.
I'm a person made of many stereotypes.
Yo soy Latinx, and I am unapologetically me.
We all have one thing in common. We are TPS students who are struggling.
We are not just numbers in the system that stand beside letters that are supposed to mean our intelligence.
We are people who are being put in front of tests while expected to pass.
We are being taught to graduate high school and not being taught to excel in life.
We are people taught to raise our hands before we speak, giving someone above us the power to decide whether or not our voices can be heard.
Some of us have more struggles than what you see, whether it be financially, emotionally, or physically.
Some of us are blessed with privilege while others are judged by the color of their skin.
Algunos creen que no tenemos documentos y no sabemos inglés, pero we speak English very well.
In the eyes of our teachers, some of us are on level or exceeding, while others are behind or not obtaining curriculum.
We are all students who are barely getting by in the school structure.
We are all terrified for what is to come for our futures.
This is a call for help.
This is a call for change, and the possibility for change is here.
Not just for students, but for teachers and educators and administrators.
School should be a place not only for education, but also a understanding for every aspect of our society and of the world. Sincerely, students for a better future.
Okay, so those were students from our design teams who formed together because they had something particular they wanted to share as a group. Now we're going to kick it over to school by school presentations, starting with Webster.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Precious Lango, and I am a second-year teacher at Webster Middle School, teaching 7th grade math, and I am thankful to be a part of the Tulsa Beyond team at Webster. Webster Beyond has provided deep, impactful insights about the way that our students at Webster view their high school experience. Through empathy interviews with a variety of students, they have been able to speak their truth regarding what makes a meaningful high school experience for them. Collectively, our students have told us that they long to have meaningful, authentic relationships with teachers and adults in the building. They have said that they want to learn how to create balance in life, and that they want real-life, real-world learning experiences along with support with their basic needs and support with transitioning into post-secondary schooling. Unfortunately, right now, the way that things are, our students are not getting the things that they want and need. And truth is, we may have never gotten the chance to learn that from our students had we not been given this opportunity to be a part of Tulsa Beyond. Through the past few months, week in and week out, we have been working hard to create a high school experience that will reflect the needs of our students. We have done this by trying a few things on a small scale, and it is impeccable to see the amount of success our students are having. As I'm saying this, I'm sure you all are wondering, but Precious, why does this all matter? Why is this important? How is this different from all of the other things that we've tried before? Webster Beyond matters because my students matter, all of them. It matters that they feel seen and valued in their high school experience. It matters because it will allow us to better support our students that have slipped through the cracks and have been passed along year after year. It matters that they are prepared to be well-informed, active citizens in their community after high school. It matters that they learn that they have a voice and that their voice is powerful enough to change the world. It matters because this will allow us to increase access opportunities beyond West Tulsa, beyond Tulsa in general, to all of our students. It matters because they deserve an education that will engage them and unlock their potential. Webster Beyond matters because my students matter. In the words of a Webster student, we need to teach students that resiliency is required because being innovative is going to involve failure. Competency is built by accomplishment. When you achieve, you gain confidence. But that is a step-by-step process. Students can be the driver, but they need structure. This work is not about recreating Webster because it looks good or sounds good. The purpose of this journey is to give students what they deserve, an education model that will support them specifically where they are. The purpose of this journey is to provide a system that will allow student success to not be stifled by systems and structures that do not work for them and were not made by people that don't know them. The journey of Webster Beyond will allow us to support students in finding their way to realizing that the future is theirs and that their possibilities are endless. Thank you.
Okay, so next up we have Tulsa Learning Academy.
Good evening. My name is Josh Vess, and I'm a member of the Tulsa Learning Academy staff.
Buenas noches, I am Juan Miret, and a member of the Tulsa community.
To illustrate why it's imperative that we develop a new vision for TLA, I want to tell you a story about one student. We're going to call him Billy.
Billy is like many students at TLA. He came to TLA undercredited, but more importantly, he came to TLA disengaged. He's 20 years old, and he's in a race against time to check all the boxes that say, I am a graduate.
In speaking with Billy, there are a number of factors that play into why he's disengaged with school. At the top of that list is a lack of relevance.
Billy doesn't see why it is so important for him to know so many of the things taught to him in a classroom. This lack of relevance led to him failing a number of classes and eventually dropping out of school.
Now that we have Billy enrolled at Tulsa Learning Academy, he's on a path to gaining a diploma. But what if we could help Billy? And I don't mean in the way that we help so many students already at TLA, guiding them on the path to a diploma, but what if we could really help Billy? What if we could take who Billy is and who he wants to be as a person and help him craft a new set of boxes to be checked?
We need the flexibility to truly innovate in delivering content to students, just like Billy, in ways that will keep being plugged into their learning experience more authentically than a traditional classroom setting.
Another hindrance to Billy's education is his home life. Billy can pinpoint very few adults that he can identify as champions of his.
This trend is seen in many of TLA students. In addition, when answering a recent survey, students tend to reference the school they came from as their school, not TLA.
Our hope is to transform TLA into a school full of students who can readily identify adults who care for them, and a school where students feel as though they belong.
In short, we want to transform TLA from a halfway house where the only goal is to achieve a diploma into a home.
To be clear, we don't want to stop doing what we currently do for the district. We know that we do that well and we want to continue to do so. But just like we do for Billy, we want to do more. To do this, we ask only that we be allowed the freedom to boldly go where no school has gone before.
Gracias.
Okay, next up, McLean.
Tonight we want to share with you what is a very brief glimpse into a few of our students' lives here at 4929, or as some of you may know it, McLean. Now I'm sure you all have heard something about the place we call home, but the question is, have you heard the real story of 4929? Probably not, because the same as our address, there are probably around 4,929 stories currently at McLean. You may be asking yourself how a school with around 700 can have so many stories. Well, it's because each of our students have several stories to tell, each of them unique and each of them amazing in their own right.
Hi, my name is Anna Black. I'm the art teacher at McLean, and I'm here to tell you 3 of those stories tonight. I want to start with the story of Shauna, who, when you ask her other teachers, they will tell you how wonderful she is to have in class, how hardworking she is to have in class. But when you look at her demographics in Power School, you discover that she's 20 years old. How is this possible that such a bright and wonderful student is 20 years old? How did our system fail her along the way? What did we miss? How could we have helped her? Another story is that of Brandon. Brandon loves to play football. He's a pretty social student and a student who hasn't been in trouble in school in about 3 years. Yet when you look closer, you see that Brandon is on an IEP. He misses school often. He's constantly fighting to keep his grades at a D. And did I mention that he's also been homeless for the past 2 years? How has the system failed him? What more can we do? How can he be the best version of himself? And finally, I want to tell you the story of Erin. I couldn't leave here tonight without telling you about Erin. She came to us in the 8th grade. Man, was she a handful. She threw punches at a teacher, was also in some pretty big trouble with the law, but she had the potential, and we all saw it. We tried to wrap our arms around her, provide her every support in the world, and it wasn't quite enough. In the 9th grade, she got pregnant. And believe it or not, that changed everything. This was her turning point. She didn't get in trouble anymore, in school or outside of school. She was on a good path, but somehow we failed her again. Now she was absent all the time. She tried to keep up, but it was just too hard, and the next thing you know, she was gone. Gone from our school and gone from our grasp. I know we could have done more. I know she could have been successful at our school.
You may be asking yourself why we picked these 3 stories. To us, these are 3 fairly normal stories. These are not extreme users of our youth. These students are the rule, not the exception. So when you think about what we are trying to do for those at 4929, we are not talking about a small group of students. We are talking about helping all 4,929 stories ending up at the best path possible. We work hard every day to make sure our school better. And every year we make strides, but our kids deserve better than making strides. They deserve the best. We know every child's path may be a little different, and that's okay. But no matter how different, we want to be able to provide for their specific path. We want to be their champion.
Okay, so our last presentation is coming to us very high-tech, though not technically live. Hale is on a site visit right now, visiting some different learning models in Memphis, and they have this message for you.
Hello, we're from Nathan Hale High School. I'm Molly Montgomery.
Hi, this is our design team. I'm Sarah Martinez, a community member.
I'm Valerie Martinez. I'm currently a junior at Hale.
I'm Brenda West, and I'm a community member. We are Nathan Hale Beyond, which is a design team. Sorry we can't be there physically. We're currently in Memphis, Tennessee, where we've been exploring different museums and different schools and gathering information that we're going to take back to Tulsa to help us build something great for our school.
A lot of the things that we learned through the process up till now, through empathy interviews, focus groups, and all the work that we've been doing, is how much our students really want to cultivate meaningful relationships with other adults. And some of the things we've learned here has to do with a lot of our diverse student body and how their families have encountered oppression through their heritage and the resilience that they've learned through the years.
Being here in Memphis, not just visiting the Civil Rights Museum, but also visiting other schools here, has been a great opportunity to learn from other things and bring them back to Tulsa, where we can better understand our students, better understand their families, better understand how we can help them succeed later on in life, and even just right now as they are in high school.
And not just understanding other people, but understanding themselves as well. That can also open up an endless amount of possibilities for success. And we are an extremely diverse school. All of our students, they've been into all and no categories at the same time. We are so large and so different that we have to have a new system that can help us grow.
Yeah, it has been a great experience just to be able to work with community members, kids, and part of the whole faculty, that we all kind of can share our backgrounds and our thoughts and do our own research, and that can help create a better system for the students at Hale.
The students deserve changes that grow with them. They deserve equitable options that are going to help all of them. We are Nathan Hale Beyond.
I'm going to take just a couple of minutes to tee up for you all that which is coming next. Obviously, a lot of love and passion and spectacular work is already underway. Very quickly, I'll take you through what has happened so far. The teams formed and launched in September, and since then they've been starting the process of understanding their students, understanding their school, doing deep dives around content, and starting to develop an initial concept for their new school models. By December, they will have narrative versions of those models, very early versions of what they're going to be building. The other thing that's happening right now is staff engagement, because each of these schools is preparing to bring to their staff and community their part of Oklahoma's first Empowered School Act application. This is a piece of state law that has never been used before. They will be the first. We will be the first. And what it does is give our high schools significant flexibility to decide something that is new and better in all the ways that they've talked about tonight. That is going to then continue into the next year. So what you'll see here is in December, they'll be going to their staff to ask for their staff support. And then early in the new year, we will be bringing a zone application to you for review. With your approval, we will then forward that zone application to the state board for their review and hopefully eventual approval. And you'll see, if all goes as planned, we'll be looking at the first Empowered School Act zone in Oklahoma somewhere in the spring. The work has been spectacular and really, really hard, so I do want to pause and give each of our fantastic students a chance to introduce themselves and then offer one last hearty round of applause for the work that they've done.
Hello, everybody. I'm Antonio Gabriel, and I'm 16 years old, and I'm at TLA, Tulsa Learning Academy.
Hi, I'm Viviana Perez, and I'm 17 years old, and I go to Webster High School.
Hello, my name is Ryan Bennett. I'm 15 years old. I'm a freshman at McLean High School.
Hi, my name is Biza Walker, and I am 17 and currently a senior at McLean High School.
Hello everyone, I'm Kelsey Rice and I am a junior at Daniel Webster High School. Suit up!
All right, thank you very much. So many people from the design teams came out, and I know that we really appreciate their help.
We could perhaps have all the design team members stand up who are here. That would be great.
Yeah.
There are lots of you, I know. Thank you so much to all of you for your leadership. It's awesome. And certainly Principal Holman and Principal Spears and Principal Williams and Principal Riley and everyone on the design teams, from teachers to community members to students, have just put in so much work into this. I also do want to point out that prior to September, I want to make sure we haven't forgotten that we spent a number of months collecting information from all across the city with interviews and surveys and so forth, and that has been information that the design teams have used in their work. So just wanted to point that out as well. Thank you again to each of you. We are so excited about the work you're doing and cannot wait to follow you as you continue on the journey that you've launched into. So thank you. Madam President, I also wanted to just clarify an error that I think I made in my presentation of the changes to tonight's agenda. I believe I said that we needed to withdraw E13 and E19. It's actually E13 through 19. It's one of our ones that has a series of items. So I don't know if we need to vote on that agenda again, Eric, but that's the withdrawal. It should be 13 through 19 of E.
Is there a motion to amend the agenda to reflect the removal of items E13 through E19?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion or questions? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Ms. Wester?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye.
Aye. That'll bring us to our action agenda item, if that cleans the matter up. Mr. Wade? Okay, thank you. So we'll move to our action agenda. Item F1 is a post factum approval to renew an agreement with the Asia Society to continue Booker T. Washington High School status as a member of the Handband Asia Society Confucius Classrooms Network, September 1, 2018 through August 31, 2019. Are there, it's no cost to the district. Is there a motion to approve
So
item
moved.
F1?
Second.
Any questions on this item? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Ms. Fate?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye.
Aye. Item F2, approve the expansion of Collegiate Hall Charter School to include a pre-K through third grade configuration in addition to their current fourth through eighth grade offering. The expansion would begin in 2021 after an initial planning year. Collegiate Hall will add 2 grade levels per year, beginning with pre-K through K at 60 students per grade level. When fully grown, Collegiate Hall will have an additional 300 students. For the purposes of renewal decisions, this expansion will be an amendment to the current Collegiate Hall Charter School contract. This approval shall be subject to a mutually agreeable and fully executed renewal contract between the parties. I'll go ahead and read the rationale for this item. Then we'll get a motion on the table, we'll allow our speakers, then we'll have discussion and vote. Rationale: Collegiate Hall offers robust STEM programming to students from the P61 neighborhood as well as other parts of Tulsa. Collegiate Hall works diligently to prepare students to be successful in high school and college and works in close partnership with Memorial High School to create a clear pipeline after students leave Collegiate Hall. The addition of grades pre-K through third will create a more consistent educational experience for Collegiate Hall students with less transitions prior to high school. Collegiate Hall will be including their STEM focus for all grades and including social emotional learning program for pre-K through 8th graders. The Collegiate Hall contract was renewed in March of 2017 based on their performance against Tulsa Public Schools Charter Performance Framework. Their track record of success combined with a comprehensive plan for expansion provides adequate evidence of Collegiate Hall's readiness to serve students in grades pre-K through 3rd. And that's the rationale for the recommendation. Is there a motion to approve Collegiate Hall's expansion pre-K through 3rd?
So moved.
Second. Now that we have a motion on the table, we'll take speakers on this item. Again, it is a hard 5 minutes, no matter how young or old you are. And so I will, when you start to see your microphone flash, that's when you need to wrap it up, and then the microphone will go off, and I'll ask you to step down. So we have, looks like 5 speakers on this item. And we'll start with Joanna Lean.
Good evening. I'd like to begin by just acknowledging the incredible presentation that Tulsa Beyond just did, because that is the reason why we do this work. That was absolutely incredible. My name is Dr. Joanna Lane. I am speaking to you as a parent of a Tulsa Public Schools student and an employee of Collegiate Hall. I am privileged to have the opportunity to work on an exciting project at Collegiate Hall, which is our best effort to fulfill the promise of charter schools. As you know, over the past 3 years, Collegiate Hall has had outstanding success with its students, producing growth that has been in the top 2% nationwide in math, reading, and science every year, according to the MAP test. Because of the success of the staff and students, I now have the honor of working with local districts to share best practices and improve the quality of education in a variety of settings across the Tulsa metro area. One of the promises of charter schools is to serve as labs for innovation. The project I am working on, which is affectionately called the Teaching and Leading Initiative of Oklahoma, is the embodiment of this project, of this promise. We take the instructional coaching strategies and teacher support model that Collegiate Hall has created to support districts in implementing a similar approach. We are an example of educators working together for the betterment of all students. I'm am grateful to have the opportunity to stand here before you tonight to personally thank you and your predecessors for the foresight to approve Collegiate Hall 4 years ago. It is because of your belief in this school that we have been able to serve 83 teachers and 86 leaders in 5 short months. Collegiate Hall believes in the potential of all educators. Teachers at Collegiate Hall receive strong professional development in the technical aspects of teaching. This is done through a rigorous induction process and ongoing coaching. What we have done at the Teaching and Leading Initiative is take the model created by Collegiate Hall and made it accessible to traditional public school districts by offering it for free or at very reduced costs. In doing so, we have worked to strengthen the partnership between charters and districts. The phrase, "a rising tide raises all boats," comes to mind. The expansion of Collegiate Hall can provide a direct benefit to Tulsa and Oklahoma broadly by allowing the Teaching and Leading Initiative and Collegiate Hall to provide expanded opportunities for educators to learn, grow, and be challenged. As a leader within this organization and a parent to a Tulsa student, I hope that you will vote yes in this motion. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll next have Braylon Adams and Michael Bailey.
Good afternoon. I am Michael Bailey, the treasurer of the Student Council at Collegiate Hall and leader in the community. As you all know, we are here to talk about expanding from 4th through 8th to pre-K through 8th grade. This may be a big step, but I believe we are ready to take it. I've always been a bright student. Before I started at Collegiate Hall, I went to many different schools. At all of these schools, I've excelled, but the schools were less structured, so the students took less responsibility. Once I got to Collegiate Hall, it felt like I was surrounded by geniuses. My classmates were smart, kind, and ready to help. This made me want to grow and catch up. I felt I needed to work super hard to make an impact on the school, so I decided to run for treasurer and won. The teachers at Collegiate Hall have been wonderful. For example, the engineering program is amazing. We've built bridges, made a raft, launched water balloons out of a catapult, created skyscrapers, created music using code, coded a traffic light with LEDs, and so much more. In science, we have dissected frogs and rats and are now in pre-AP classes like physics and chemistry. These classes will prepare us to be successful in high school and beyond. I feel that expanding Collegiate Hall will lead to a better future for students. Students at our school work hard to have a higher chance of graduating from high school and going to college. If we expand, this means they will be more ready because starting younger will prepare us better. Teaching students the core values of respect, responsibility, compassion, courage, perseverance, and integrity earlier will mean that when they are older, they will be ready to take on the challenges of life. In conclusion, I believe we should start Collegiate Hall at pre-K so that students can start the path to college earlier and create a better future.
I am Braylon Adams, a debate leader for Collegiate Hall. I'm in 8th grade. The academic levels prove to you that Collegiate Hall is a well-planned-out school where students show their full capability. Showing we are ready to take a big step towards expanding Collegiate Hall from 4th through 8th to pre-K through 8th. Before I went to Collegiate Hall, I was getting suspended and getting into fights. When Collegiate Hall sent an invitation to my mom, she knew this would be the right school for me. The academic structure is set up so that students can successfully work and express themselves. Going to Collegiate Hall for 4 years has changed my life, from getting into trouble to accomplishing goals I wanted to achieve. Last year I joined the debate team. Debate has taught me how to structure my arguments in a respectful way. When I joined debate, I was a good debater and I received 10 medals. Collegiate Hall has also built other relationships with schools, helping me learn about other schools that I potentially want to go to as my high school. Collegiate Hall is ready. This is my last year, and I think Collegiate Hall is ready to expand because their academic structure is built to set students up for success, and Collegiate Hall's experience at expanding, like last year we expanded from 4th through 7th to 4th through 8th. So I think Collegiate Hall has the necessary skills to expand to spend in the school. To conclude, Collegiate Hall will help younger students achieve necessary skills for high school, middle school, and college.
Sita.
Oh, excuse me, Isabella, Sida.
Sita.
Say it for us.
Sita.
Sita, great.
Thank you. I'm Isabella Sita, a student here at Collegiate Hall. I am standing here before you to convince you to please allow our school to expand pre-K through 3rd. Last board meeting, my mom spoke on behalf of my school and I. Collegiate Hall is by far one of the best schools in Tulsa. Collegiate Hall provides so much for their students and teachers. Students are able to learn about computer science, STEM, pre-algebra, algebra, and geometry. By the time students graduate from Collegiate Hall, they will have taken pre-algebra, algebra, and/or geometry. Since going to Collegiate Hall, I have participated in building and participating in the Tulsa Raft Race, computer science, STEM, Lego League, studying robotics at Tulsa University, humanities, debate, algebra, and geometry, and student council as events chairman, and so much more. But Collegiate Hall isn't only about the academics of its students and how well they perform. It's about growth and how much the teachers invest themselves in their students. Collegiate Hall pushes students to be the best they can be. I could not ask for a better school. The teachers are so invested in us and take their time to understand how we think to help us better understand the things we don't understand. The teachers show so much care, time, and devotion towards their students. I don't think people really truly understand the impact teachers have on their students. My teachers have guided me to success. Prior to going to Collegiate Hall, I was bullied a lot and confused in school and was never given proper help from my teachers. Going to Collegiate Hall has changed all of that. Now I wake up joyous to be able to go to school every day. I feel safe in the Collegiate Hall environment. With Collegiate Hall's strict rules and regulation, bullying almost never happens. Collegiate Hall not only teaches students academics, but behavior, attitude, and tone. At Collegiate Hall, we structure our school around our core values: respect, integrity, compassion, responsibility, and perseverance. Collegiate Hall teaches their students to live up to these core values. Collegiate Hall Collegiate Hall really teaches students life lessons that will stick with us for the rest of our lives. I am proud to say that I am a founding student here at Collegiate Hall and soon to be graduate. I have never been so sad to leave a school. Please let others be a part of this amazing school and experience. Please think about all the things children are missing out on. Again, I am standing here before you to convince you to please allow our school to expand pre-K through 3rd.
Lanny Endicott.
Good afternoon, y'all. My name is Lane Endicott. Just retired from ORU as professor of social work. I've lived in the neighborhood, South Peoria, for 44 years. My children have gone to Marshall Elementary. My wife retired from a special education teacher at Wright Elementary. So we're very anchored in the South Peoria community. And y'all remember back in 2013, I believe it was in January 7, there was a quadruple homicide at Fairmont Terrace in South Peoria. That shook Tulsa. It shook a lot of people. Unfortunately, that's what it did. It shook people up. But it did offer us some opportunities to bring some change in the community. Jeannie Q, city councilor, called a meeting at City Hall and said, let's get together and talk about what we can do. Out of that meeting, we put together a number of task groups, one of which was for education, one on health care. Out of that, the health care program, we have St. John's Health Care at the South Tulsa Community House. We have a community crime program. We have a grant that provides a community officer for South Peoria, 61st and Peoria area, which, by the way, we don't call it that anymore. We call it New Hope. We also thought that education, and we looked at the data and said we need some help in education in this community. We had McClure and we have Marshall, but we needed some alternatives to really hold on, grab a hold of these kids that we had to help them educationally to go to any high school in the city. And that's where Nikhil stepped in. We worked with Nikhil and supported him immensely in his work in seeking to put together the Collegiate Hall program. So I think we're at the point of expanding it all the way from pre-K up to the 8th grade. And I think from what you've heard so far, these young people are demonstrating that this school works, okay? So thank you so much, and I urge your approval of this, what do we call it, motion. Thank you.
Nikhil Kalra.
Great. I want to start by saying thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to present this application on behalf of our staff, our board, our students, and our community. Thank you for the opportunity to allow us to work alongside our students and families each and every day. It's an incredible honor and a privilege to be able to work with our students. It's not one that we take for granted. And finally, thank you for your partnership as Collegiate Hall has worked hard to provide an excellent education over these past 4 years. The attitude and the spirit of partnership that Tulsa Public Schools has put forth has been a guiding star for all of us. In our application over the past 2 weeks, you've read and heard why we believe Collegiate Hall should have the opportunity to expand to open Tulsa's first STEM-focused elementary school. You heard from parents who are grateful for the opportunities Collegiate Hall has provided. You heard from students who have reflected on their growth and opportunities that they had because of their hardworking teachers. You've heard about the desire for increased educational opportunities from community leaders that are working alongside us with students and families each and every day. And you've heard from educators, the executive director of the Tulsa Regional STEM Alliance, a member of our staff that exports our professional development at free or reduced costs, and the director of the Tulsa Engineering Academy at Memorial, who have all spoken directly to our model. The work that teachers and school leaders do is hard, and the responsibility is great. We believe strongly that schools are most successful when they reflect the needs and desires of the communities they serve, when they work alongside parents and families, and when educators in the building work with one vision to deliver a joyous, achievement-oriented, and rigorous academic program for students. Over the past 4 years, we've worked hard to build a school based on these core beliefs. Our average student has grown nearly 2 grade levels in math, reading, and science per school year. Our students have learned to code in JavaScript and Python, have built computers and computer games, and have launched water balloons at their teachers. Our student climate scores have always been amongst the best in the district, and our parent satisfaction has always been above 90%. We are eager to work in partnership with Tulsa Public Schools to build upon this track record and to serve families at an even younger age. We're excited to see even our youngest students learn to code and engage in the engineering design process to solve problems around them. We're excited to help them develop socially and emotionally and support them to build deep, meaningful relationships with teachers and peers. We're excited to help them love school, love learning, and love each other. Thank you again for the opportunity to speak to you today on behalf of our team, our families, and our community. We hope you'll vote yes and look forward to many great years of partnership ahead.
Thank you. Any questions on this item? No questions on this item. Any comments? Well, Collegiate Hall is in District 7, which is my district. I've known Nikhil and members of his board and staff since before they were a thing. And I am very proud to support Collegiate Hall with my vote this evening in its expansion. My support derives from serving Tulsa's kids, and that is what Destination Excellence promises to do for our kids in all of our schools. And this is our school, and these are our kids. Supporting the expansion of Collegiate Hall is about being honest about the portfolio district that TPS is. It's about bringing our kids into our district with a variety of choices. It's about the fantastic collaboration that happens between Memorial Junior High, Memorial High School, and Collegiate Hall. It's about being honest that we are a district that has magnet schools, contract schools, alternative schools, all of which change what we think of as a traditional feeder pattern and affect it. The good news is that within TPS boundaries, we have enough kids for all of these schools. And just like when you hear the Collegiate Hall supporters speak to how this school changed their lives or was the place for them, or a teacher tapped into how to help them reach their potential, I guarantee in the 70-plus traditional/neighborhood schools that we had out there, if they found themselves in a position to come here this evening and present and make their case before this board, they could bring equally fantastic stories, equally fantastic teachers, parents, students, and supporters to speak to the importance of that specific place in their lives. Don't forget that in this conversation. Approving a charter, choosing a magnet school, or as a parent, supporting alternative options such as Tulsa Learning Academy is not to the exclusion of neighborhood schools or their quality. That is the core of our work, and if you come to these meetings every week or enter your neighborhood school or any neighborhood school, you will see this hard work going on every single day. There is no reason for this otherness of our charter partners. They enrich our TPS ecosystem, and the existing TPS ecosystem enriches them. I am so very proud of what Collegiate Hall has done in this district and offers, as I am proud of every single school in District 7. And I encourage any of you to come and walk with me in any of those places, including Collegiate Hall. Welcome to the family. Thank you. Any other questions or remarks on this one? Okay, I'll call for the vote. Ms. Wester?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye.
Aye. That'll bring us to item F3, which is a recommendation to... That'll bring us to the item F3, which is to approve the expansion of the Tulsa Honor Academy, and we'll do the same exact order on this item, to include a high school program beginning with the 2019-2020 school year and continuing for a total of 5 years. For the purposes of renewal decisions, the Tulsa Honor Academy High School will be reviewed on its own timeline for renewal and separate from the current Tulsa Honor Academy charter that operates 5th through 8th grades. The high school will serve 125 students per grade level and will grow 1 grade level per year to a total of 500 students in the 2022-2023 school year. This approval shall be subject to mutually agreeable and fully executed renewal contracts between the parties. There is a further recommendation here. Prior to opening in the 2019-2020 school year, the district shall ensure that the high school campus of the Tulsa Honor Academy Charter School facility meets state and local standards for safety and accreditation and is sufficient to deliver the academic program set forth in the approved application. The attorneys for the school district prepare and approve the appropriate charter school contract, and the proper officers of the Board of Education be authorized to execute the contract on behalf of the district. The rationale for item F3, Tulsa Honor Academy serves the students of East Tulsa. Tulsa Honor Academy consistently meets the criteria set forth in Tulsa Public Schools Charter Performance Framework. Their current 5th through 8th grade charter has maintained a 97% attendance rate, a 93% retention rate, and outperformed the TPS average on every OSTP they took last year. THA students also outperformed the state average on the math assessment in every grade last year. Their track record of success combined with a comprehensive plan for high school expansion provides adequate evidence of Tulsa Honor Academy's readiness to serve students in grades 9 through 12. I'll entertain a motion to approve item F3.
So moved.
Is there a second? With that, I'll ask our speakers to come forward on this item. And we are going to start with Rigo Mireles and Remigio Botello.
Good afternoon, or good evening. First of all, let me thank the board for coming and hearing our petition for our high school in this frigid evening that we have. We appreciate this. My name is Remigio Botello. I am a parent of a student at Tulsa Honor Academy. I am also the president of the parent-teacher group that's been in existence since the beginning of the school, so I've been involved with it through being vice president or president of the teacher-parent group. 4 years ago, there was this young lady at an event promoting this school, this charter school called Tulsa Honor Academy. Me and my wife listened to this young lady. We went home, we talked about it, and we decided to take a chance on her. This young lady, Miss Elsie, did such a great job and been doing such a great job that was one of the best decisions that me and my wife have done for our kids that are in the school grades. Nick and Emma have grown in all the classes they have: English language, and social studies, and science, and in math. Our Nick, at the end of the 6th grade last year, he scored a 1295 in his Lexile test. That's only 5 points away from a college level reading skills. They take great care of our daughter also, Emma. She's diabetic, and they take the time to make sure that she takes her medications before her meals and make sure that she does the right corrections and everything that she has to do, and she also gets to play basketball with the school and the sports that they have. That's some things that she probably wouldn't have the opportunity to do, the playing basketball and all that in a regular TPS school. Also, our kids have gotten to go to universities. Our 5th graders get to go to OU. Our 6th graders get to go to OSU, and our 7th graders got to go to University of Arkansas. That's an opportunity that they get to do unlike any other school probably. Although Tulsa Public Schools have a great managed schools such as Edison, Booker T, Memorial, and Rogers, I don't know if the kids, we're going to have 100 kids coming out of the junior high at Tulsa Honor Academy fighting for applications to be able to enter those schools. If you grant us a high school, these kids will be able to stay with this level of education they've been having and give the opportunity to other students in the junior high schools and TPS to enter those programs and not be fighting with also the kids in our school. They'll still have the same level of education on both of them. And also, it's just, I think, well, Saturday is my birthday, okay? And a yes vote would be a great present for me. Thank you very much. You have a good evening.
Good evening. My name is Rigo Mireles. I am the parent of an 8th grade student at Tulsa Honor Academy, and I am here to express my interest and full support for the formation of a Tulsa Honor Academy High School. Our child has been a student at THA since 5th grade in 2015, which was Tulsa Honor Academy's first year in session. My family's personal experience with Tulsa Honor Academy has been extremely positive. The personal growth our child has achieved is truly remarkable. We're continuously amazed at his level of growth through his first 3.5 years at the school. Our family believes that the values offered at Tulsa Honor Academy have been a significant part of our child's growth. The school has proved to us their commitment to education by focusing on these values, which include respect, determination, and integrity. We believe these values are crucial in helping these students prepare for a college education by providing them with a remarkable work ethic atmosphere. We would love for the students to continue their current level of education and have the opportunity to keep growing in a Tulsa Honor Academy High School. Finally, I would like to mention that THA has been a very positive addition to our community. It has given families in our neighborhoods a secondary option for our children's education. In fact, my family has considered moving out of the TPS district, but have decided to stay so that our son and hopefully daughter can continue attending THA. I want to thank you for allowing me to speak and for your consideration of Tulsa Honor Academy's high school application. Thank you.
Ms. Finley and Ms. Morales?
Morales.
Morales. Go right ahead.
Okay. Greetings, Tulsa Public Schools, Board of Directors, and community members. My name is Natalia Morales. I am a 7th grade student at Tulsa Honor Academy.
My name is April Finley, and I am also a 7th grade Tulsa Honor Academy scholar. We are speaking to endorse the Tulsa Honor Academy High School expansion.
Tulsa Honor Academy has a rigorous education system. In my experiences, I have seen students who have struggled, and even those who haven't, flourish in our school. Whenever a student needs help, our teachers will provide assistance and make sure everyone understands.
THA's policies and rules may seem strict to people who have never experienced them for themselves. And though this may prove to be true, they prepare us for the real world, which we all know isn't going to be easy on us. THA dress code is emphasized greatly. We are expected to wear a professional and crisp uniform, as you can see here. These uniform requirements will help us in the future when we have jobs or are applying for one.
THA's aforementioned education system is very particular. Students are guided through lessons with notes that increase in difficulty as students progress through grades.
This is linked to THA's focus on getting all of its students to and through college.
Both April and I have seen vast improvement in ourselves and in our peers. We are fortunate to have the opportunities to participate in advanced classes such as algebra, honors ELA, and geometry, and possibly more if this high school is approved.
We are also fortunate to have such nurturing and caring teachers, pushing us forward to achieve our peak potential. The teachers at THA are always looking to help a struggling scholar or lead a striving one to further greatness.
Our school's population is largely composed of racial and financial minorities, such as April and myself. Naturally, we have heard in our lives that we will not or cannot succeed. And in many areas, whether it be in the state or in the country, that may prove to be true. THA works so that scholars never have to worry about failing solely because of their background, for all scholars are given an equal chance of achieving success.
Here, on a regular basis, we are told that we can and will succeed. At THA, they challenge and encourage us to meet and exceed our goals in everything we do, from map goals to goals outside of school. The teachers and staff give us an overall supportive and nurturing environment.
When I came to THA, I came with the intent of advancing my education. I was lucky to be offered the opportunity to take 7th grade Algebra 1 in 6th grade and 8th grade Geometry this year in 7th. I decided to utilize these skills to run for student council, and I was elected by our school's community for this year's student council treasurer. I hope to run next year too, and I'm considering a career related to leadership because this school has shown me the importance of making a difference in our communities.
Last year, a student named Mantra Aguirre Diaz rallied up several current 7th graders and a few current 8th graders and went in front of our school building and protested against gun violence. As cars passed, they honked in support. THA, I think that this shows that THA is already making differences in our community, so just imagine how much more we could accomplish with the high school.
In addition to our traditional curriculum, we often get the opportunities to learn about real-world issues and aspects. One of these aspects is voting. We all know that voting is very important in contributing to the future of a community.
Which is why we rely on you, the people who are elected by our community, to vote on our behalf. We hope you'll make the decision that benefits not only scholars of Tulsa Honor Academy, but staff and families, as well as in the future. Thank you for allowing us to be part of this event and voicing our opinions.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Moises Echeverria.
Good evening, Madam President, board members. First of all, thank you so much for all the service that you do and the hard work and countless hours and dedication, passion that you spend for the benefit of all students and their families in the district. I don't know how I'm going to follow that, so that's not fair. Some of you know that I've called Tulsa home for 20 years. It was this month in 1998, 20 years ago, that my family immigrated to Oklahoma. And a couple of years after that, my family enrolled me in East Central High School. I am a proud Cardinal, and I am so excited about the successes that East Central continues to achieve and all that it does for its students today. I am also a board member of Tulsa Honor Academy, and I have been for the last 3 years. While I could be here and spend my time talking about the academic achievement and the growth of our students and the rigor of the instruction by our faculty and our staff, I want to spend my time talking about community. And as you can see in the audience, we have a sea of purple that has come here to the Educational Service Centers, and I want to ask those of you who are here in support of THA, can you please just wave at the board members? When I think about the investments that East Tulsa needs to create the long-term success that is sustainable, I cannot think of a better investment than this high school. I am confident that together with the East Central High School, Tulsa Honor Academy will continue to prepare the leaders that our community, that our city and our state needs. THA High School will provide the right choices for our parents in the area, that between the two high schools they can choose the best choice for their children. And as you can see from the community that is here supporting, which is a small fraction of the community that THA serves, this is the right investment to have that strong, close-knit sense of community in East Tulsa that can push our students to continue to be successful and to give back to the community. So I'm here, and I invite you to vote in support of the expansion of THA. Thank you so much.
Orlando Estrada.
Yes. Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, and TPS Board of Directors. My name is Orlando Estrada, and I'm an 8th grade student at Tulsa Honor Academy. Tonight, I've come to advocate for the THA High School. As you know, Tulsa Honor Academy has applied in order to form a high school. This high school should be approved because it will provide many opportunities and possible jobs for staff and faculty members alike. The high school could benefit not only current THA students, but also children who may want to become better citizens in the future. Many scholars want the THA school to be approved because they think that at this school, their dreams can be made into reality. This school could produce a place for teachers to ignite a passion in students so that they may aspire to make change in the world, to help change our society for the better, and to create a better future for the next generations. The students who already attend THA share the same sense of tenacity to improve with each day that passes. The whole school has displayed a great amount of potential, and that potential can be honed in order to maximize their capabilities. Every day, the teachers express a passion for academics that is passed on to the pupils. I myself hold this passion, and that is why I stand here today. Tulsa Honor Academy has led me to achieve at levels that I would have considered unfathomable before going to THA, such as reading at a 12th grade level in the 6th grade. In addition, I also scored a 256 on my math score, which is only a few points away from the maximum. And I was named a semi-finalist for the Young Scholars Program, which is a scholarship gained through the Jack Kent Cooke Foundation. That said, getting to these achievements has not been easy. I've overcome challenges that have become a part of me and my desire to continue growing. At THA, I've been pushed to do better by my teachers, and when I fail to meet our standards, they put me back on track to do so. That's why I think the THA High School should be approved. I've personally seen how beneficial the education at THA has been, and I want others to benefit from it also. Therefore, by not approving the high school, it would essentially be denying over 400 children this great opportunity. This school could really help hundreds of scholars and maybe even thousands in the future. That is why I ask that you approve the Tulsa Honor Academy High School. Thank you for your time.
Father David Medina.
Well, thank you. Well, I'm here to share. I'm Father David Medina. I'm pastor at San Francisco Xavier Church. This is the second largest Hispanic faith community here in Tulsa. And you look very different on the other side. So nice. And I know you are very wise, and whatever you do is for the best of the community, the best of Tulsa. So I know you are. I think I get more nervous than the kid. I know that you want the best for the community, so I want to share the impact that THS has made in the community. We have a significant of the students going to my parish who attend THA. And they have gone to that school because they know, or the parents have decided to enroll their kids to that school because they know they have the structure, and also because they are accepted not only as who they are, but also because they are helped to discover their potential that each one of them, all of the students have to build up their families for Tulsa and for the place they will go later. So the parents, they have seen that their kids not only are pursuing their dreams for a higher education, because their parents have told them that to get an education is good for them, for the future, for their future, and for their families that will build up in the future. But also, they are pursuing now their higher education because of what they have been taught in the school, that they have something to offer, not only to their own families, but also to the whole society, that they have now the elements that they need to have a better society. They have been strengthened, not only in their values, but also on how to help others. And we have seen that in the parish, in the community, because now, because of the structure they have received and the discipline they have learned at THA, they have helped other students in a religious education by asking them to share their values with others, and especially the value of respecting others and respecting the education they receive wherever they go. So the vision they have now by attending THA is that they have something to offer to others. So I ask you to vote yes, because your yes will not only help these kids to have better families, but also will help the Tulsa city to be better. Thank you.
Elsie Ureta Pollock.
Greetings, Superintendent Gist, President Schreiber, and members of the Tulsa Public Schools Board of Directors. For the second board meeting in a row, you have now heard from multiple Tulsa Honor Academy scholars, parents, staff, and community members. My name is Elsie Ureta Pollock, and I am the founder and executive director of Tulsa Honor Academy. On behalf of the THA speakers and the rest of the THA familia, thank you for allowing us to express our needs, our desire, and the reason why we believe that THA deserves a high school. Tulsa Honor Academy has always been a dream of mine. Growing up in East Tulsa, I always knew I wanted to give back to the community. And what a better way to do so than by providing an excellent college preparatory education. While I always knew that this was the best way to serve my community, never has this need been more apparent than when speaking with our families. We've sat on living room couches, gathered around kitchen tables, stood on front porches, talked after church services, and drank cafecito with our families about their hopes and dreams for their children's education. Through all those conversations, there was one resounding theme. They all want and need the type of education that THA provides. As the school has grown, this dream of mine has outgrown me. It is more than a personal dream. It has become a dream of our parents, teachers, and scholars. For years now, our families have been asking us that we continue to provide the THA education past middle school. So when I say that THA deserves a high school, I'm not talking about me or even my staff. I am talking about the hundreds of scholars and families who have asked for this high school. The THA High School would benefit all of our scholars, not just scholars attending THA. Having an educational option benefits all scholars in East Tulsa. As you know, many of the schools in East Tulsa are over capacity. By pulling scholars from some of the most densely populated schools in TPS, we will help alleviate some of the stressors associated with overly crowded classrooms. I am proud of the significant progress that schools in East Tulsa have made over the past 4 years because all of our students deserve quality schools. This is what our community needs. Nonetheless, having great neighborhood schools and having choice should not be mutually exclusive. East Tulsa can and should have great neighborhood schools and also provide additional school choices for our families. In other parts of the city, families have other options, whether it comes in a magnet or a charter school form. For the last 4 years, we have collaborated with the district to be a middle school option for East Tulsa. And we dream of providing another high-quality high school option in our community. For the last several years, we've put our heads down and we've done the work. Work that has undeniably put our scholars on a path towards success. We are not asking for a building. We are not asking for additional resources. All we are asking for is the opportunity to continue educating our scholars and continue serving East Tulsa, the East Tulsa community, so that we can deliver on our promise that every single one of our scholars goes to and graduates from college. I ask you, on behalf of the THA scholars, families, and staff members you see here today, and even those who were unable to attend this meeting, please consider the petition that the THA Familia has made and vote yes to the Tulsa Honor Academy High School expansion. Thank you.
Questions or comments? Ms. Keller.
Yes. Thank you all for speaking tonight. I love, excuse me, I love hearing from the students. That's my favorite part about sitting at this table. It's no surprise to anybody sitting behind any of these tables that I am not a charter school fan. I've never made that a secret. That's just how I feel. But I do believe in innovation. I believe in outside of the box thinking, and I believe the students should be afforded the best possible opportunities. I just strongly believe that TPS should be the one who does that in our neighborhood schools. Because we're charged with educating every child, every parent, and every piece of baggage that show up, we do not always accomplish this difficult task. We will continue to strive forward, though, towards that goal every day. And I think that we our presentation tonight by Tulsa Beyond kind of demonstrates some of the great strides that we're making towards doing that. There's no denying the success that THA has. They're doing great things with their students, and they've made great strides, and their test scores show that, and the strength of the community around them and their students that showed up to speak this evening demonstrate that. THS has lived up to most of its promises that they made when they applied for their charter. Where I feel like THA maybe did not live up to their promises in being a good partner with some of the schools in East Tulsa. We heard from Collegiate Hall, and we heard them talk about the work that they do with Memorial and preparing their students to enter the STEM program at Memorial. And they work hard with the teachers there and the students, and they really form a team. I wonder how much time THA leaders have spent at East Central. Have they toured the building, or have they talked with staff and students? If so, they would have seen a top-notch program that's preparing our kids for success not only in college but life as well. They offer 23 AP classes, including calculus, AB, BC, and statistics, as well as on-site concurrent enrollment. They would have met students who are graduating with over 30 hours of college credits, or ones that are taking concurrent Calculus 3 at TCC. They would have seen a staff who works very hard every day to prepare rigorous lessons for not only the college-bound students, but for those who do not speak English, or for those who have been removed from multiple other schools. There are great things happening at East Central, and we need to acknowledge and celebrate those accomplishments. The first time Ms. Ureta Pollock and I met, we had a little bit of a disagreement, and that stuck with me for the last 5 years. She told me she wanted to prepare her students for being successful at Booker T. Washington. I took a little bit issue with that, insinuating that East Central was not good enough. 5 years and great leaps later, I truly still believe that East Central is good enough. It is good enough to prepare our kids for college. But I also take issue excuse me, from a district-wide perspective. We have an IB program at Booker T, an AP capstone program at Edison, a college high program at Rogers, and many, many other incredible programs across our district. I struggle every time a charter vote comes up, and at the end of the day, I always tell myself that I have to do what is best for kids. And in this case, I'm not certain that it is what's best for kids, or that it fills a need that the district has. I'm certain at the end of this evening you will have your high school, and I look forward to seeing the many, many successes that you guys have. But I would like to close out my comments by borrowing a few words from Mr. Matt Campbell, who teaches social studies at East Central High School. He says, "It will not stop us, the teachers and staff, from informing the East Tulsa community that a school that prepares students for college already exists in East Tulsa. It already exists in a school that also nurtures newcomers to our country. It exists in a school that has a rich tradition of athletic success, not to mention sending athletes to college. It exists in a school that teaches and cares for our community's most at-risk students. It exists in a school that provides avenues for success that include technical training and life skills needed to secure and keep a job. That school which prepares students for college, and all these other schools exist in one place, East Central High School." So it is for Mr. Campbell and the many, many other hardworking staff members at East Central High School that I will be voting no this evening.
Other comments or questions? Dr. Decker.
Thank you. I just wanted to provide some comments on all of the 3 charter expansions and the renewal that are on the agenda tonight. Over my time on the board, and even before that, I have immersed myself in understanding what charter schools are and arguments for and against them. I also rely on multiple personal stories and experiences from friends. And in my opinion, charters are not inherently good or inherently bad. Instead, each charter school must be reviewed independently to understand its teaching model, its staffing and professional development, and the student success. And we must also understand the larger system in which the charter would operate. For example, how will the charter impact other schools that are close by? Is the charter offering something different to complement our existing options? And does the charter have other options for authorization? And therefore, a TPS denial doesn't mean the charter won't exist. It's important that all students have access to an excellent school In other words, all home schools or neighborhood schools need to provide a quality education. The large bulk of TPS work is on supporting these neighborhood schools. And as the chair of the Teaching and Learning Committee of the board, I frequently hear about the work improving the professional development offerings for teachers, improved coaching supports, and other instructional efforts like Tulsa Beyond. And so with this vision of exceptional neighborhood schools, I do, however, feel it's beneficial to offer parents a choice in their child's education. Charters offer choice, as do all the TPS schools that require an application. As a parent, I myself have exercised this option for choice with both of my children. So I have two main watch-fors regarding charters. And the first is the criticism that they don't always serve all kids, or that certain kids are pushed out, such as kids with diagnosed disabilities or kids with behavioral challenges. And the data I have on these three charters here tonight, on the agenda tonight, however, show that they serve a large portion of kids with disabilities, that suspension rates are low, and the retention and attendance rates are high of students. And therefore, locally, for at least these three charters, this doesn't seem to be an issue. The other watch for is the potential impact on enrollment at other schools and possibly the decrease of enrollment of the most involved families. And this is so important to watch for and makes the bulk work of the district of supporting our neighborhood schools possibly even more important if that's even possible. So I will vote yes tonight because I believe the charters, expansions, and the renewal, they all three demonstrate strong positive impact on student outcomes. They offer different models that complement our existing system, and I believe our system can support these options, and it's clear there's a lot of demand for them. So thank you.
With that, I will call for the vote. Ms. Fate?
Aye. Aye.
No.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Welcome. So with that, we'll move on to F5, and there we have the recommendation, approve renewal of the charter school contract with the Tulsa School of the Arts and Sciences, TSAS, for a 5-year term. This will authorize TSAS to continue to operate as a, oh, excuse me, apologize, F4. We're going to move back to F4. Approve expansion of the Tulsa School of Arts and Sciences, TSAS, to include 6th grade classes in addition to their current configuration. The expansion would begin with the 2020-2021 school year after an initial planning year. This expansion will continue for a total of 4 years to run concurrently with their 2019 to 2024 charter renewal. The next item that will be presented. The addition of a 6th grade will add up to 75 students to TSAS for a total of 525. This approval shall be subject to a mutually agreeable and fully executed renewal contract between the parties. And the rationale for this item, TSAS is one of the longest-running charter schools in Tulsa and the state of Oklahoma. They consistently meet the criteria set forth in Tulsa Public Schools Charter Performance Framework. The addition of a 6th grade allows for alignment with other TPS middle school grade configuration and affords incoming TSAS students a more streamlined transition into a 6 to 12 pathway. Is there a motion to support item F4?
So moved.
Second.
And with that, we have a few speakers on this item. Chris and Kendra Freedom will be our first speakers this evening.
Good evening. My name is Kendra Freedom, and this is my husband, Chris Freedom. We have a son at TSAS. He is in 9th grade this year, and he started as the first 7th grade class of TSAS. So he was, of course, the first 7th grade class, and then the first 8th grade class, and now he's in 9th grade. We chose to homeschool our son starting from elementary until the 6th grade year. In the 6th grade, we decided it's time for him to go to school. And when he moved into public school, he met some difficulties. He is a student with some learning difficulties and just did not fare well in the regular school setting. We had chosen to keep him in school, and we're going to push through, and that's when he got into TSAS. TSAS allowed for him to move into a traditional school setting, traditional classroom, and perform at a regular rate, just like all the other students. What I found in moving from the traditional school to the charter school setting, he was able to communicate with his teachers and interact with his other students without the difficulties of being put into different sections, taken out of classes, and moved into different rooms to complete his special education. TSAS also allowed him to know all of his teachers. The teachers knew him. He knew the teachers that he was going to have the next year, became very familiar with them. As he moved from the middle school into the high school, he already knew the teachers. They knew him. He was able to just move straight in and really flourish. One thing that I will say is I wish that he would have had a good first year of schooling, moving from homeschool into public school. I think that if he'd had the option to move right from homeschool into the 6th grade TSAS, we would not have had that very, very difficult year. I hope that one day other students will be able to start TSAS in 6th grade and move all the way through to their high school years, having that wonderful support that TSAS has given to our son.
So originally I said I wasn't going to speak, but I have something I want to say. I'm just speaking from the heart here. I have this conversation with parents all the time and with teachers all the time. We have 2 children in the system. My daughter is at Booker T and my son is at TSAS, and if you flip-flop them, I don't think either of them would be successful. I think what I heard earlier kind of about the patchwork of schools within the TPS system really rings true, especially for my family and for a lot of the other families that we've spoken with. TSAS is exactly right for a whole bunch of students, and it's a family. And when I go and meet with these teachers and administrators, they're engaged. I feel like my kid's not away from home, they're just at their other home being cared for. And I'm asked to engage, I'm invited to be involved, and that level of involvement and that web of support for my kid, I want it to extend to as many kids as possible. So with all my heart, I hope you vote in favor. Thank you.
Dan Hahn.
Shout out to THA and Collegiate Hall. Congratulations. Good evening. My name is Dan Hahn. I'm the middle grades principal at TSAS. Good evening. It is with humility and gratitude that I speak in front of you, the distinguished Tulsa Public Schools Board of Education, President Schreiber, Dr. Gist, Deputy Superintendent Shannon, and other staff and visitors who are all here to collectively show their passion and care for public education in Tulsa. I'd like to give a special thank you to Ms. Marshall, who serves the families of District 3 where I live and where my son Adrian will begin pre-K next year. Your work has helped build a strong foundation of early childhood education in North Tulsa that we are proud and excited to be a part of. We at TSAS don't view our work with kids as better or more meaningful than that of other schools, and we scorn any rhetoric that attempts to devalue the tireless, transformative work happening in TPS classrooms. To the contrary, we see our work as a complement and partner to the great work happening in these schools. For example, Principal Tara Carr at Hamilton Elementary has led a dedicated staff to academic and social emotional gains once thought impossible at her school. We visited her school many times over the last several years and witnessed it firsthand. Our students and families from Mark Twain Elementary speak of nothing other than the love, support, and strong educational foundation they received there. During the teacher walkout, our TSAS teachers and staff stood shoulder to shoulder daily with passionate cohorts of teachers from Webster, Cooper, and others in front of the Capitol building to tell our legislature that we, united as public school professionals, deserve better for our kids. I was visiting at Springdale Elementary last week when a third grade student working in the library asked me if I would like a chair. I sat down, and as we talked for a few minutes, he brimmed with praise and admiration for his teachers and his experience there. This is evidence of dynamic, enduring work on the part of the staff at Springdale. We are not here to put a strain on the great work driven by so many sitting in this room now. Our simple petition to add 6th grade to our current span of programs isn't one of takeover, but of alignment and partnership. Two stakeholder groups that have driven the quantitative and anecdotal success of TSAS for the better part of the last 20 years are the teachers and families that call our school home. Both of these groups have, for years, asked us to bring about this request, and we, in an effort to further align and partner with TPS, do respectfully and with great care seek to oblige them and ask that you, the Distinguished Board of Education for Tulsa Public Schools, grant us that request and vote yes on our 6th grade proposal. As our 20-year anniversary of a school nears, we look back on a legacy of success in Tulsa that affirms the work we do at TSAS as being profound, effective, and necessary. Our partnership with TPS has been a galvanizing force in that success. Indeed, our positive relationship with the district and so many of those working within it has been a noted factor in our success for kids. While the educational landscape shifts and develops across the country, TSAS is proud to lean on a positive and symbiotic relationship with Tulsa Public Schools. We look forward to another 20 years of alignment and partnership as we each, through diverse means and avenues, seek to continue to develop Tulsa as a city where every child feels known, loved, challenged, and empowered in the classroom. Thank you.
Lisa Smith.
Good evening. My name is Lisa Smith, and I'm the high school principal at TSAS, Tulsa School of Arts and Sciences, and I'm honored to speak with you all tonight. Tulsa has been my home since the 3rd grade, when my family moved to Tulsa and I started school at Academy Central. I continued in public school through my high school graduation and attended junior college and 3 Oklahoma universities in the pursuit of my undergraduate, graduate, and doctoral degrees. I also raised a family of 4 children, all of whom attended public school in Tulsa, attending first at Lanier and Grimes Elementary and then Edison and Thoreau for middle school until all 4 graduated high school from TSAS. I have been an empty nester for 3 months now. As a teacher and administrator, I have served Oklahoma K-12 education for more than 20 years, the last 10 of which have been at TSAS. Perhaps it is our current turbulent social and political moment, or perhaps it is this Christmas season, but either way, I have been thinking deeply about hope. The poet Emily Dickinson calls hope a thing with feathers that perches in the soul. Educators today use the word hope alternately, instead as a point of measurement. For them, hope is understood as ideas and energy for the future. These educators believe that people have hope when they have 3 things: attainable goals, the ability to see multiple pathways to achieve those goals, and agency, which is the belief that you can achieve your goals. This idea of hope is not poetic and perhaps not as insightful as the metaphor Emily Dickinson uses. But what it does is it moves hope from the realm of the imagination to something attainable. And that is why we're here tonight, our hopes for the future. I believe that everyone in this room, whether we are members of a traditional public school community, or members of a public charter school community, or members of a public school board endeavoring to make wise decisions about the future, we all share a number of hopes in common. We share the hope that the valuable knowledge of the past will be handed on to future generations. We share the hope that the meaningful skills necessary for a lifetime of learning will be practiced and mastered and applied in personal ways by our students. We share the hope that our professional, highly trained, focused, time-intensive work with students will open spaces where our students' lives will be transformed, and hopefully ours along with it. We share the hope that our teacher dreams and aspirations for our students will not remain with us, but that through our caring and committed relationships with our students, what was once our hope will become their own hopes for themselves as well. And we share the hope that we, as stewards of public education, can serve our students in such a way that our common good and our shared futures will be enriched and strengthened. It is my belief that in these hopes and in this work, there are no competitors, only co-laborers. Hope is a meaningful work because it recognizes the past, it looks at the present to the work at hand and the needs of the day, then turns its attention to the future promise of growth and change. Hope looks attentively at all that is not yet, but could be, as the noted educational philosopher Maxine Greene would say. Tonight, TSAS comes before you with hope. Hope that you will recognize as valuable our ideas for the future, our pathways for accomplishing these ideas, and our agency to achieve a future of promise for our students and for our shared investment in Tulsa's growth and development. We bring before you our request for an expansion to the 6th grade focused on alignment, which we believe is meaningful and will be a component for our students' future growth and achievement. It is my hope that you will recognize our co-laboring and see the merits in our request and honor our 18 years of steadfast diligence and vote yes on this motion. Thank you for your thoughtful consideration.
Good evening. I'm Ellen Dollar-Hyde McCoy, and I'm the Executive Director at Tulsa School of Arts and Sciences. I would like to thank you, Ms. Fate, Ms. Marshall, Ms. Keller, Ms. Schreiber, Dr. Decker, and Ms. Wester for your thoughtful consideration of our request to add a 6th grade to Tulsa School of Arts and Sciences to complete our grade level offerings. Over the past 2 board meetings, you have heard from 7 TSAS representatives and myself. I'd like to take a moment to recall the common thread between the messages of these speakers. Last week, Mr. D, our accomplished high school mathematics teacher, spoke about the professional and personal growth that he has experienced at TSAS. As both a Tulsa Public Schools employee and a TSAS parent, Amber Whitlatch shared her unique perspective in the ways that TSAS has made a difference for her family. A TSAS senior, Jalen Davis, didn't do a very good job bragging on himself, so I'm going to do that for him tonight. He's a member of the Mayor's Youth Council. He's a Youth Senate Program finalist. He's the NHS president and the speech and debate captain at TSAS. In Jalen's 5 minutes, he spoke about how having a 6th grade would better serve students so they could have a deeper TSAS experience beginning at the pivotal education transition year of 6th grade. Tonight, Mr. and Mrs. Chris and Kendra Freedom shared a personal narrative about how TSAS has played a role in opportunities for their son. Our middle school principal, Dan Hahn, explained that TSAS sincerely stands side by side with Tulsa Public Schools, and we share in a spirit of partnership. Lisa Smith, our high school principal, shared insights about this powerful concept of hope and the ways that it can positively affect our shared experience in public education. These speakers represent the prevailing stakeholder groups who serve in and are served by our school. The thread woven throughout their presentations bound together the TSAS values of connectedness, civic-mindedness, academic personalization, community engagement, agency, scholarship, and care. You'll have to take my word for it. These testimonies of our values and the TSAS experience are a mere glimpse of the intricate tapestry of our special TSAS community. We have spoken, and now it's your turn. As you place your vote this evening, please know that we deeply respect your role in our school's future, and we value our partnership in this common good of public education. Thank you.
Questions or comments on this item? Ms. Wester.
Thank you. I want to begin by stating that for me, tonight's votes were very difficult. Not because I don't feel that charters can be a valuable addition to an array of options available to our families, but because we need to do a better job at be a little more clear about what the plan is to leverage charters within Destination Excellence. Over the course of the past 2 weeks, I have connected with many families who shared their stories of their perception that their lives would be transformed by tonight's vote. They shared with me their struggles and successes. As a former public school educator who highly values the power of a neighborhood school as well as choice schools, the idea of having both school choice and excellent neighborhood schools is complex. On one hand, we want our families to have options made available to them to ensure the odds that their child will get the best opportunities afforded to them. On the other hand, this, which isn't just about charters, places significant risk to our neighborhood schools. It is all, and my phone's not working very well, it is also clear, however, that families would prefer for that choice to be the school across the street from their home. I know that our district administration is working tirelessly with our school staff to move forward and move toward academic excellence for all. And this road is long and at times very difficult to accelerate. I cannot choose to have parents' concerns be put on hold until we get to our destination of excellence. I cannot look at a child's eyes and tell them that they're not worth the opportunity. That being said, I feel that we need to be clear about how we are, first and foremost. You can see this, right?
Her phone is messing up.
With that being said, I feel that we need to be clear about how we are, first and foremost, advancing the opportunities for children in their neighborhood. Additionally, we need to be clear with ourselves, including our hardworking charter partners, as to what the plan is for them within Destination Excellence. To be clear about how we are maximizing their impact while at the same time providing excellence in our neighborhood schools. It is my expectation that this will be made clear in the coming year, and that the next time a vote like this comes to us, we all understand how this fits into our path toward neighborhood-based excellence, and that we would annually monitor our collective progress. Finally, I want to thank all educators, regardless of schools, for what they do for our kids as we all strive to advance the lives of our kids. And I want to thank Dr. Gist and your staff for quickly answering all the questions that I had sent regarding this critical issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wester. Other comments? Ms. Marshall.
I did want to take an opportunity to speak to TSAS, given that we have had a long and fruitful relationship with them. As Board Member Keller, I've never made it a secret my thoughts about charters, but I do understand why we have them. And I want to acknowledge that TSAS has been the embodiment of professionalism, the embodiment of consistency, the embodiment of engagement in the community and with the children and with the families, and that is evident with the joy that the parents here tonight presented. Maya Angelou, when she spoke out in public forums, she spoke about her Uncle Willie, and she talked about how her Uncle Willie gave her the joy of learning. And anytime someone, an organization, an individual can give you that joy, that's something that no one can take away from you. And that's a foundation for a child to grow upon. That's a lifelong launching pad to success. And so whether it's charter or public school, that is commendable. So I say thank you, TSAS, for your hard work and for your partnership with TPS. Thank you.
Ms. Fate.
Well, I would just like to thank all the people that, whether they have signed up to speak, but you've spoken with your body by sitting in these seats. And to me, this is a good sign that there are a lot of people who are very interested in making sure that Tulsa has some really good schools and good things happening to their students. And thank you all so much for all of the work that you've done.
Thank you. In my comments, I certainly had things that were applicable to all the charters. I've also known Elsie for 4 years, and before she was a thing. And I've also known Ellen, and I knew Eric Doss before, not before TSAS was a thing, but for a long time. And that's one of the beautiful things I think about TPS's relationship with our charters. These people are known to us. We're welcome in their buildings. They are a part of our family. And when I welcome everyone to the family this evening, we're welcoming the new grades, new additions there. And I think I have to honor them because, as Dr. Decker pointed out, there are other chartering entities that they can seek a charter from. But there is nothing as rigorous and detailed and as much work as a TPS charter, and there's not the accountability probably anywhere in the state around what we have. And so seeking to partner with us is no small thing. There are other chartering entities who would get the charter, get it done, and send them on their own. But what we say when we charter them is we care about TPS kids, and what they say is we care about TPS kids. So again, I am proud to support all of these expansions and proud to have you as part of the family, and proud to welcome your new grades and continue to just make this a very rich ecosystem where we're all co-laboring together. I just want to make this one other note, in that when I called out that we have plenty of our neighborhood schools who could bring all of their teachers and parents and students, I failed to mention principals, and I think that's someone this evening who has been noted as a big part of that ecosystem. So whether you're Katie Jimenez at McClure, or Ms. Horner at Eisenhower, or Mr. Schmidt, or Mr. Hahn, or anyone else, they're a big part of that, and I just want to make sure that you know that we appreciate our principals too. With that, I think I'll call for the vote. Ms. Wester?
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Aye. Welcome. So now we'll do F5, approve renewal of the charter school contract with Tulsa School of the Arts and Sciences for a 5-year term. This renewal will authorize TSAS to continue to operate as a charter school for the 7th through 12th grades. I'll entertain a motion to approve this item.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions on this item? So just clarifying, this renews the contract that they have now and doesn't in any way negate or affect the previous item. Call for the vote, Ms. Wester.
Aye.
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 Aye. Move on to item F6, which is to update School Board Policy 8102 regarding the naming of school district facilities. The proposed update of Policy 8102 and the accompanying new Regulation 8102R will better reflect the values of the district and facilitate an inclusive, thoughtful, and specific process for the naming and renaming of the school facilities. We went over this last week in detail, but I'll take a motion for approval of it now.
Move approval.
Second.
Are there any questions on this item? No questions? Well, I do want to reiterate what I said earlier. To see those kids come and sing a song about Dolores Huerta is really inspiring, and to know that they take pride in their school and with its new name and adapt and adjust is just a wonderful thing, and personally probably one of the more satisfying things that's happened through all of that process. So I love to see that, and like Shauna says, when you see the kids and be reminded that they're not some kind of abstract thing, that they're a big part of every decision we make, it's so powerful. So are there questions? No questions on the policy? Great. Well, I hope it doesn't have to be used for a while. And, call for the vote. Ms. Wester.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. This is moves us into our information agenda, which Dr. Gist will manage.
Thank you, Madam President, board members, and Tulsans who are joining us in many different ways tonight. As a reminder, information items come before the board for consideration. There is not an action taken on these items. If there would be an action, it would come before the board in the future as either a consent agenda item or an action agenda item. We'll start with items G1 and G2. These will be presented by our Deputy Superintendent, Ms. Paula Shannon. Ms. Shannon.
Thank you, Dr. Gist. Members of the board, both items are no cost to the district. Item G1 allows us to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the Tulsa Dream Center to provide great out-of-school time opportunities to our students at Gilcrease and Penn. And item G2 is entering into a memorandum of understanding with the Metropolitan Environmental Trust. This is a great opportunity at Emerson Elementary. They have an urban farm there, so this allows us to integrate sustainable practices, particularly around teaching innovative environmental topics, including sensible and forward-thinking solid waste management as the kids learn about farming. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Shannon. Moving on to items G3 through G8. These will be presented by our Chief Teaching and Talent Officer, Mr. Devin Fletcher. Mr. Fletcher.
Thank you, Dr. Gist, Madam President, and members of the board. Item G3 is an amendment to the Project Lead the Way board-approved item on June 18th, 2018. The purpose for the amendment is to include the programming for Central High School, where this item initially offered only middle school programming. This will not exceed $16,000, which is an additional $3,000 cost to the district, and it'll be paid for out of our career tech fund, specifically for program needs, curriculum, and equipment. Item G4 enters into an agreement with Tulsa Speech and Hearing Association to provide additional sign language interpreters as needed. This is a new contract, and it's required due to due process and ensuring that we're providing free and appropriate educational services. This is not to exceed $10,000 and will be funded out of our general fund, exceptional student supports. Item G5 and G6 support the work of our talent management department department are routine items that provide life insurance and long-term disability insurance to our district eligible employees. The cost for each of the items will not exceed $1 million and will be charged to the applicable funds, and this is consistent with prior years. Item G7 is a recommendation to provide an early incentive for early notice of retirement. This will allow the district to initiate a hiring process earlier, along with recruiting and ensuring classroom and administrative positions are staffed prior to the start of the school year. This is consistent with the prior year, and the incentive steps will be $2,000, $1,000, and $500 respectively over a 3-month period. And then item G8 is routine in nature. It's our recommendation for the create and delete of positions within the transportation and campus police departments. I'd be happy to respond to any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Fletcher. If there aren't any questions, we'll move on to G9. G9 is a recommendation to renew a contract with Upwork Enterprises to provide technical support to our IT and data teams, effective from the date of execution through 2019. The cost will not exceed $200,000 and will be paid by grant funds. Upwork Enterprises provides freelance workers with strong technical expertise to assist our IT and data teams to provide rapid support in areas where highly specialized skills are required. And our Chief Information and Analytics Officer, Mr. Stephen Fedor, is here tonight to answer any questions that board members might have about this contract. Moving on to items G10 and G11. These will be presented by our Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Norberto Delgadillo. Mr. Delgadillo.
Thank you, Dr. Kiss. Good evening, President Schreiber, members of the board. Item G10 is a routine item with respect to approving and sanctioning the following booster clubs for the fiscal year. There's no cost to the district, and these booster clubs and PTAs provide benefits to students that we all greatly appreciate. Item G11 is to enter an agreement with Municipal Finance Services to assist in compiling financial information. And this will have a cost of $1,500, and the service provided by Municipal Finance Services will ensure that Tulsa Public Schools' obligation for transparency in the municipal bond market is met, and by compiling the appropriate information with the electronic municipal marketplace access system. I'll answer any questions.
Dr. Decker.
Thank you. On G11, I'm just wondering, is this a new item or is this a regular item, annual?
It's an annual item.
It is.
Yes, sure.
Thank you, Mr. Delgadillo and Dr. Decker. Items G12 through G22 will be presented by our Director of Bond Projects, Mr. Chris Hudgens. Mr. Hudgens.
Thank you, Superintendent Yes, President Schreiber, and board members. Items G12 through 14 all deal with the additional grading and storm sewer for the classroom addition at Key Elementary, and the construction manager on that is Trigon Construction. Items G15 through 18 all are dealing with the interior renovation for the Rogers College High. These are all out to bid right now and will be brought back to the next agenda. And this is all part of the 2015. And this work the majority of this work will be done over the summer, and there will be some work that can be started earlier. And items G19, 20, and 21 all are part of the new Rogers Stadium at Rogers College High. This is all part of the 2015 bond, and this work is currently out to bid and will be brought back at a later date. And the last item that I have is G22, is to approve the resolution to acquire our third tract of land at East Central. You'd previously seen this as a condemnation, and this we've reached an agreement with our landowner, and so we're looking forward to processing this through. Are there any questions on any of those items?
Thank you, Mr. Hudgens. Moving on, G23 is a recommendation to revise actually 3 school board policies to bring them in line with current practices and procedures. So the first one is policy 2108. This is the smoking or the possession or use of tobacco and vaporizers by students. Policy 3307 is teaching about alcohol, tobacco, other drugs, and substance abuse. And policy 4402 is smoking and vaporizers on school premises by employees and patrons. And our Chief Operations Officer, Mr. Jorge Robles, is available to answer any questions board members might have about this item.
These items have been through the policy committee?
Yes, they have. Thank you. That's a long
So, just what are the kind of the top lines around, particularly around the vaping and how that is, I'm assuming, an addition or change?
Yeah, definitely one of the changes on the languages is to make a more explicit naming of vaporizers in our policy. Also reflects some of the current practices that we have in the language of the policy, which helps strengthen the policies, but also provides more opportunities for schools to apply for, to be certified as healthy schools, which then in turn helps them apply for grants as a certified healthy school.
And a Juul is a vaping tool, is that correct?
That's beyond my knowledge.
I think it's the #1 brand. I just, looks like a flash drive, so it's hard to know. Thank you.
You're welcome.
These are parents of young children. I think that's the key to their awareness.
Yeah, of a high schooler.
Yes. Yeah, young adults. Thank you, Mr. Robles and Board President Schreiber, and that concludes our information items, Madam President.
Any reports or concern from members of the board? We have no citizen comments this evening, and I will say that I saw Eric Doss come in. He missed my shout out to him. Dr. Gist, I know, has a report this evening.
I do, Madam President. Thank you so much. I just appreciate so much all of the feedback and engagement from our board members tonight and from so many Tulsans who were here tonight to talk about a number of issues, in particular these items on our district authorized public charter schools. I think that it is so clear that regardless of your view on these topics or others, that everyone who was in this room tonight, everyone joining us for this incredibly important public meeting is here because we all believe that every single student deserves access to an excellent learning experience in our schools. When our students succeed, we all succeed, and we can prepare our students for long-term academic and personal and social and professional success when we make sure that the educational opportunities they have today are strong. We have nearly 90 schools across our city, and these schools, in each of them, are professionals and volunteers and students and parents who are all striving to provide a quality education to our students. We have fantastic neighborhood schools creating exceptional learning environments. We have academic and lottery magnet schools and demonstration schools. We have a partnership school that is doing a great job of demonstrating how to actively engage the community. And we have alternative programs for students who need a different kind of environment to ensure their success. And as was clear tonight, we have district authorized public charter schools partnering with us to keep our students in Tulsa on track for success. All of these have robust and rigorous learning communities for Tulsa children, and they are all part of our Tulsa Public Schools family. And while we continue to improve, every school in our district has good stories to tell and good work underway. I want to touch briefly on some of those ways in which we're investing in our Tulsa Public Schools family. You've heard about this before, but I just want to underscore, we're making sure that we have a great teacher in every classroom. This is not easy to do in Oklahoma right now, but we have such amazing educators all across the city. Our team is working hard to support 800 novice teachers with instructional coaches and mentors with rigorous and frequent professional development, learning opportunities with tools and resources and support through the Tulsa Way for Teaching and Learning, which is our guidebook for consistent practices. And we're continuing to grow and improve the Tulsa Way for Teaching and Learning. We're ensuring that our teachers have access to the best practices, instructional resources, and training and supports to help them continue with their practice. And the Tulsa Way is intended to be a place for them to be able to go that makes access to those tools and resources more straightforward. Their lives are too busy to be searching around for different materials in different places. We want to make sure that we're elevating the quality of student learning and instructional design and delivery every day. We're working hard to provide these common resources in a high quality and organized way. And so we're striving for quality, we're striving for consistency and high expectations, but we also want to make sure that we have space for the professional judgment of our amazing educators. So I want to touch on just a few samples, and some of these have been mentioned tonight, but I'll go into a little bit more specificity. So at McClure Elementary School, which is in South Tulsa, the team is working to improve teacher supports by securing a 30-minute plan time once a week for the school leaders, instructional mentor, and teachers to come together and plan for their English language arts instruction. So last week, for example, the students from 1st to 4th grade worked collaboratively to plan lessons around specific texts. And they were asking questions like, what does this text say to the reader? And what are the objectives for this lesson? And what do I need to emphasize for my students to get the key details? And how do I make this learning come alive for my students? And they worked together to determine the ways in which their questions and so forth would fit more naturally into the lessons and how they could facilitate these strategies along the way. The consistency of our school leaders, all of our team members, including our instructional mentors and coaches and all of our teachers working collaboratively, will ensure that we have aligned implementation of practices throughout the building. So the school leaders also debrief with the team leaders once a week there at McClure to give affirming feedback and stretch feedback throughout the next week. At Springdale and Hawthorne Elementary Schools, our principals have requested additional supports from the district to help teachers understand from both the long-term and short-term planning for our core knowledge English language arts curriculum. We are providing support from the district staff to assist the school leaders in those buildings and the lead teachers with building the skills and tools they need to understand and to plan for the content and for giving their students many opportunities to practice. This is giving, this learning opportunity is helping those school leaders and their teachers develop muscle memory in terms of the planning and delivery of these kinds of high-quality learning experiences for students. In addition to that, we're working to ensure that our students in Tulsa have personalized learning opportunities that will allow them to engage deeply in their own learning. Personalized learning creates a culture of student empowerment through project-based learning, through student collaboration, and cognitive development. Teachers have more time to build on the strong relationships and to work one-on-one with students. And students also become self-directed, and we've really seen this in ways that were more prominent than we even expected, because they set goals for their own learning, and they're assessing their own progress along the way using real data about how they're doing. And I loved hearing students tonight talk about their own results and how they were progressing through their schooling. We are also in our third year of Teach to One Math at Webster, Hale, and McLean Junior High Schools, and for the 9th grade students at McLean High School. Teach to One is a personalized learning program that's, for math that is focused on delivering a variety of learning environments. So it includes whole group instruction, it includes, which is kind of similar to traditional classroom, but it also has peer-to-peer learning, small group learning, online platforms, and independent study. And students take short online assessments at the end of each period, and it helps to give the teacher information about what that student should be working on the following day. Our students, as a result of this work, are growing more rapidly toward grade level proficiency and more than we expected and beyond many and more traditional programs. And in fact, students have achieved some of the highest math growth rates in the district. McLean, in particular, has seen exceptionally strong results. Some of the students have reached, even more than a year and a half worth of growth in a year, and people have come from around the country to watch the work that's happening there. At Central and Memorial Junior High Schools, the teams are implementing personalized learning as well that combines blended learning, project-based learning, and mentorship. And we're expanding access to advanced coursework to secondary students as well. So you heard quite a bit tonight, including from Board Member Keller, about the great work happening at East Central High School. And I just want to emphasize that as well. Principal Crace, his administrative team, and their teachers there, and students and families have done an incredible job. They actually have seen the most growth in the number of AP classes, so advanced classes, of any other school in the city, and now offer far more than 20 advanced placement courses at East Central, which places them among the highest number of advanced placement courses available in the city. This teachers and the school leaders have placed an intentional focus on increasing these course offerings, but also to make sure that students have support to be successful in that coursework. And they really have made an effort also to make sure that they're retaining students from the junior high to ensure an ongoing and steady increasing enrollment. We actually, Tulsa Public Schools actually just this fall won a national award that actually just came in the mail today. We got it, but it was so heavy we couldn't bring it back, so they sent it to us later. But this was about support for students and advanced coursework, and actually there's no way that we as a city would have been honored with this award without the work that's happening at East Central High School and the great work that teachers and leaders are doing there. You heard from Chief Castaneda and from so many of the members of the design teams, including, of course, our students, to see all the exciting work that's happening in the Tulsa Beyond project. We also have other innovative work that's happening at schools all across the city, including schools like Mayo Demonstration Academy, Dual Language Academy. There are schools that are achieving great things that we don't hear very much about. They're working quietly and they're doing incredible work with their families. So this week, I want to just make an exciting announcement. We are relaunching our web pages for our own middle and junior high schools and our senior high schools. These redesigned pages will provide families with engaging digital experiences to help them make decisions for the best secondary opportunities for their students. So you can find out more about this at tulsaschools.org/explore high school or explore HS, or tulsaschools.org/explore JH for junior high schools. So this has been said a few times, but I want to just underscore this point. When we have a school district that is a portfolio of schools, one in which every neighborhood has a quality school, but we also have options for families who have a need to choose or an interest in choosing something that would better meet the needs of their student or families, we will have a school district that is truly delivering with an ideal balance. All of us, though, are members of Team Tulsa. All of us are a part of the Tulsa Public Schools family. And I want to reiterate another important point. We do not have a shortage of students in Tulsa. We do not have a shortage of students in Tulsa. We have a need for additional opportunities in every part of Tulsa. Neighborhood schools, schools of choice of any kind. That includes in East Tulsa, in South Peoria, every part of our city. So I want to remind you about that. I know President Schreiber and other board members mentioned that, but it's just so incredibly important. We need to make sure that every school in our city, our neighborhood schools first and foremost, and other schools are all offering outstanding educational experiences for our children. Our Tulsa Beyond students as you saw, the Hale students are visiting schools right now, and other teams have had these same experiences where they're going to see new models to make sure that their ideas are informed by other practices. And some of our students were in the teams were recently in Washington, D.C., and while they were there, they had the chance to visit the African American Museum, one of the newest Smithsonian museums. And while they were there, they ran into John Hope Franklin Jr. They had a chance to talk with him and get pictures with him and chat a little bit about the work that they're doing. And he was very excited about what he heard and what was happening in Tulsa Public Schools. And I think it is so fitting. Tulsans are so proud of John Hope Franklin. And just as a quick aside, I've lived in 2 different places where they had John Hope Franklin centers, like community centers that were named after him, and I always took a lot of pride in that. But I hope you know, you may not though, that Tulsa Beyond was named because of a quote, a John Hope Franklin Sr. quote, and I want to just end with that quote. "We must go beyond textbooks, go out into the bypass and untrodden depths of the wilderness, and travel and explore and tell the world the glories of our journey." And that concludes my remarks, Madam President.
Thank you, Dr. Gist. We don't have any non-routine items to discuss this evening. Any new business, Mr. Wade? Okay. Well, tomorrow evening, we'll be back here for winter graduation. I'll see many of you here. Maybe some of you out watching on Facebook will be here tomorrow night. But the next regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Education will be held on Monday, December 17th, 2018 at 6:30 p.m. in the Cheryl Selman Room at the Education Service Center, 3027 South New Haven Avenue, Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Call for the vote, Ms. Wester.
Aye.
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 Aye. Meeting adjourned.
So, do we have